Hi, I'm Scott Wrighton. I serve as the Decatur City Manager and usually the host of these weekly videos we have about what's going on in your city government. The City Council held their last City Council meeting of 2021 last Monday, and they had a full agenda. One of the items on the agenda was the 2021 tax levy for taxes payable in 2022. Well, this is important to all of us because it influences those tax bills that Macon County will send out that are due in June and September of next year. So let me talk a little bit about that. Property taxes in the city of Decatur are the aggregate of about 11 different taxing bodies in the city of Decatur, the largest being the Decatur Public Schools. Roughly around half of the property taxes paid by everybody who owns property is paid to the school district. On those parts, the fringe parts of the city of Decatur that are in other school districts, in Mount Zion School District or Maroa, Forsyth District or Warrensburg, Latham, Meridian, and the others, you're still paying at least half, sometimes more than that, of your tax bill to whichever school district you're in. In all cases, half or more of your tax bill goes to the local school district, whichever one it is. In the city of Decatur, we're usually a poor second, about 15% of the total levy, followed around 11% by the Park District and around 10% by Macon County government itself. And then the other 11 units of government all collectively are only about 15% of the levy. So those are the big four, if you will, that make up the levy. So when the mayor and city council are adopting a tax levy, they're doing a tax levy for just the city of Decatur's 15% wedge in that pie. Even though it's a minority piece, the mayor and council were very clear in their instructions to staff. We don't want the fact that there were some spikes in real estate prices because of some supply and demand problems that have happened as a result of pandemic. More than 30%, according to local realtors, of prices for homes ended up being above the asking price. And because changes to equalized assessed value are influenced primarily by what fair market exchanges are, in other words, what land sells for, then the city council was concerned that a temporary spike in real estate prices would have the unintended consequence of driving up the equalized assessed value and thereby potentially driving up the taxes. The city of Decatur and the other taxing bodies in Decatur don't actually set a levy. That's kind of a misnomer. What they each do is that in accordance with the law, they determine how much dollars they need for the functions of government that they're authorized to levy taxes for. And then those 11 units of government all give their tax levy ordinances to the county, who puts them all together in order to produce the tax bills that they send out to taxpayers. So we carefully watch what the county does in terms of changes to equalized assessed value, what they do for assessments, what the aggregate effect of appeals to the Board of Appeals are, because that also bears on the equalized assessed value number. And the council said, let's keep it pretty flat, except for additions to the property tax base that happened as a result of annexation into the city or new construction. We've had a substantial amount of new construction and new permits issued here in the city of Decatur. That's good news, and that adds to the tax base, which means that takes a little bit of the load off for the residences who haven't made any changes to their property. And this year as well, we had a tax increment financing district come off the rolls, and so that will put more equalized assessed value on. So we're capturing those increases in the value, but not going beyond about 2% beyond that, so as to avoid any kind of spikes in the rate. That's complicated. Unfortunately, property taxes by statute and by the way they're designed in the state of Illinois for all local governments is complicated. So if you have questions about that, please feel free to call City Hall, because we want you to know that your tax dollars are being not only used well, but also that the city council is holding the line on taxes. One of the other things that the city council discussed at its meeting was video gaming. The governor recently signed into law what's called an omnibus gaming bill that dealt with a lot of different provisions regarding gambling and gaming in the state. And one of the functions, or one of the provisos of that bill that affected the city of Decatur, is that they decided that if there's a fee charged to video gaming machines, that's fine, that's the city council's prerogative, they use it as a revenue source, that the fee has to be split equally between the establishment owner, the owner of the restaurant or the bar here in Decatur, and the terminal operator, meaning the company that owns the machine. And in the past, and in part because of pandemic, the city council tried to take the load off a little bit of small businesses by shifting more of that fee to the terminal operator. Terminal operator are people from out of town who make it a business to own and to rent these machines to these local establishments. They can afford it, and more than a struggling small business here in Decatur might be able to do. And that's why the mayor and council made that shift. This new legislation signed into law by the governor preempts the city and says, we don't care, city, what you did. We're going to force those fees to be split evenly between the establishment owner and the terminal operator. So that's a change that we're going to have to make. At the same time, the city council also expressed a desire to maybe see what we could do to limit the number of video gaming machines here in the city of Decatur. There's more than 840 machines at 180 different liquor establishments throughout the city. That's a lot. And I think that they were concerned that as a policy matter, maybe there should be some limitations on that. Now, seemingly, those two policy directives help small businesses, but also limit the number of video gaming machines. Might seem a little bit at cross purposes, because on the one hand, they might want to hold the line on those fees. On the other hand, one of the ways to reduce the machines might be to increase the fees. So this is a discussion the city council is going to have in the future, in January. And so, and that's what you elect a city council to do, is to try to find those right balances between competing policies. One of the other decisions that the city council made was to invest nearly $13 million at the South Water Treatment Plant. All of the drinking water supplied by the city of Decatur to all of its customers is treated at the South Water Treatment Plant, a large facility there next to the lake at the corner of Lakeshore Drive and South Martin Luther King. And the facility is about 35 years old. And so some of its internal mechanisms and its electrical systems need to be upgraded so that it can be producing good quality water for the next 35 years. And so in a section of the plant called clarifiers, we're going to replace two of those, and that's the $13 million project that'll be going on for the next year and a half to 2 years. So you'll see a major construction project there, but it will improve water quality and reduce some of our maintenance costs, fewer moving parts in those clarifiers. You know, the treatment of water just sort of happens seamlessly, and people don't notice that it happens, but it's very expensive, and so you'll see that project on South Martin Luther King Drive. Another project the council talked about was the Johns Hill project. Now, this is an area near Johns Hill Magnet School. For those of you who don't live in that area, the old Johns Hill School is now gone. It's been demolished entirely, and the new Johns Hill School is not only built, but it's being used by the Decatur Public Schools. And in cooperation with the Howard Buffett Foundation, we used that project as kind of a catalyst to go into the adjoining neighborhood, improve the streets, improve the curbs and gutters, and sidewalks, street lighting, and other infrastructure improvements, demolish some houses that need to be cleared out, remove some debris from other places. And the city and the Buffett Foundation have worked very closely together in this. Last night, one of the last pieces of the project was taking care of street lighting, which we've negotiated a contract with Ameren to upgrade significantly the street lighting in that neighborhood, and the funding for that was provided by the Buffett Foundation. We're very grateful for the funding of the Buffett Foundation. Next year, that funding and that participation will start to ratchet down, and we'll move instead into a rehabilitation phase, rehabilitation of private property, that the city will be more in the role of taking the lead on to try to encourage owner occupancy in that area by investing some of the ARP proceeds that the city has received into properties so that they can be more livable, more up to code, and improve values in that area. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the situation with COVID. If any of you have been following the statistics out of the Macon County Health Department, you know that the number of reported virus cases is up significantly. They're running anywhere from 100 to 150 a day. And the hospital admissions and the capacity of emergency rooms is straining because of this additional virus. Now, it is true that the Omicron virus has not yet, Omicron variant has not yet come to Macon County, and early reports are that while it spreads easily, it's not as virulent as some of the earlier strains have been. But that doesn't change the fact that I really believe, and this is certainly the position of the mayor and council, that we all need to be on our guard, not let our guards down, to continue to social distance, to wear masks indoors when we can't be far enough away from people, to practice cleanliness, to if you walk into a business establishment and they're not following the rules and that makes you feel uncomfortable, you should leave. So that kind of safety and of course to get the vaccination, those sorts of safety measures are still important. And I think that because we've just been living with pandemic now for more than a year and a half, some of us have gotten complacent. Maybe even I've gotten complacent sometimes, and we need to keep our guard up so as to reduce the number of infections here in our community, keep our families, keep our employees, keep our friends safe. So with that, we hope that you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday, and I look forward to talking to you some more next week about what's going on in your city of Decatur.